trying to preserve Mississippi as a good, wholesome, conservative state, to continue to be a decent place to raise our children. It's been the greatest honor probably that I've ever had to be elected senator from South Mississippi, and it's been wonderful to work with people in Jackson. And I appreciate very much the fact that the speaker is very willing to speak to me if I need to come to his office, and if I'm sneaking in there, if I'm stomping in there, he's always willing to take time to hear what I have to say, and he's on the other side of the chamber, and I want to say that I appreciate that very, very much. I feel like I know where his heart is. His heart's in the best interest for the good people of the state of Mississippi, and it's just been a blessing, and we thank you for what you do, because you're the people who are out here spreading the news and trying to keep people informed, to know what's going on in our government. And I made a commitment that I would never forget that I was a taxpayer when I got elected. And that's the way I try to look at things, is I'm a taxpayer, and the policies and things I try to look at, because I believe Mississippi is a conservative state, and I believe that we can continue to keep it a conservative state. And you know, we need to look at that. You know, is this a good, wholesome policy? Does this grow government? Does this erode any of our freedoms? Those are the things that we need to look at when we make our decisions. And if you keep your eye on us, we'll continue to do that with the Lord's will and the Lord's blessing. Thank you. Thank you.
With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Mayfield. As you know, he's the chairman of our speakers committee, and he does a great job lining our speakers up, and he's just done a spectacular job tonight. We are so thrilled.
You heard me talk, yeah.
Well, you don't know what we ready to ask you, but we're glad you're here tonight. That's for sure. We welcome you. Mark?
Thank you, Janice. Folks, this is a gentleman that really needs no introduction. I think most of you know who Phil Gunn is. But just to give you a short little thumbnail on some of Philip's history, he's a native of Lee County. And in 2012, Speaker Gunn was elected as Mississippi's 61st Speaker of the House of Representatives. He's been a member of the House since 2004 and has served on various committees, including Judiciary, Juvenile Justice, Conservation, Wildlife, and Fisheries, and has also chaired the House Republican Conference and was a member of the Executive Committee of the Mississippi Republican Party. Philip is a lawyer in Ridgeland and works with the firm Wells Marble, and he is actively involved in his church and in various community organizations, such as Mothers Against Drunk Driving. He is a former member of the Clinton School Board, and is currently a trustee for the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. Philip earned his undergraduate degree from Baylor University and his law degree from the University of Mississippi, where he was elected student body president. So without any further ado, let me introduce my friend Philip Gunn.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for that kind welcome and introduction. It is good to be here with you tonight. This is probably the third or fourth time I've spoken to this group. Once in this very room. I know I met with you one time at Eudora Welty Library, various other occasions, so I'm proud to be here tonight. Thank you for letting me come for a little while. I hope that what I have to say is of interest to you. I learned a hard lesson this last session. I was speaking to a group of third graders. They had come to the Capitol, and the teacher wanted me to explain to them how a bill becomes a law. And I said, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Oh yeah, this is a group of gifted kids. These are smart kids. We've been studying government and they can understand this." I said, "Oh, okay, if you're sure." So I started and I said, "The bill starts when a legislator has an idea." Thank you, appreciate I didn't know this was a fundraiser. That's good. I'll take that. Fundraiser. So a bill starts when a legislator has an idea. He goes to see the lawyers in the House of Representatives, and they draft up the bill. The bill is sent to the Speaker's office, who then assigns it to the committee Chairman of the committee then assigns it to the subcommittee. If the subcommittee doesn't like it, the bill dies. But if they pass it, then it goes to the full committee. If the full committee doesn't like it, then it dies. But if they like it, it goes to the full House of Representatives. If they vote it down, the bill dies. But if they like it, they vote it and send it to the Senate. Lieutenant Governor then assigns it to the subcommittee. Subcommittee likes it, then it goes to the full committee. Full committee likes it, then it goes to the full Senate. Senate likes it, then it goes to the governor. But if they don't like it and they change it, then it comes back over here to the House of Representatives, where we go to do concur or not concur. If we concur, it goes straight to the governor for passage. But if we don't like it and we change it, then we invite comments, which means the lieutenant governor puts up 3 senators, I put up 3 representatives, those guys, 6 guys get in the room, they hammer out the differences. Then it produces what's called a conference report. Conference report goes back to both chambers where they then vote on it. If they vote on it, it goes straight to the governor. If they don't vote on it, then it dies. Any questions? The old boy raised his hand. I said, yes, sir. He said, do you like pizza? I thought, you could be a legislator. They could have cared less about what I was talking about. But I just thought that was so funny. Do you like pizza? So, their eyes kind of glazed over when I was talking, and I had lines going all across that board like a spider web. So I hope I don't do that to you tonight. I may throw you a curveball here, but I wanted to do something different tonight. As I said, this is about the 3rd or 4th time I've talked to this group. I don't know that I got anything else to say that you hadn't already heard. But I have heard from many of you. You've got a good group of voices at the Capitol. They are there during the session. Somebody's there every day, seems like. And they are constantly talking to us in the halls. Rita Anderson goes to church with me, and every Sunday I get from her. No, Rita's a great friend and a good supporter, and it does a great job of keeping me informed of what's going on. I see Roy back there, good to see you. But you got a great group of people at the Capitol who keep us informed of your position, what you're thinking, what's important to you, monitoring legislation. And that's good. That's the way you get things done. But I have received a number of calls about a variety of issues. And I got Mandy Davis with me here tonight. She's one of my staff members, and she's got another book. And I wanted to hear from you. I think tonight would be a good time for me to hear from you. What are your concerns? What do you see? Rita gave me this book on Common Core. I have read through it. Looked through it, read through some of it, and know you have a great concern about that. There was another issue, Mandy.
Longitudinal datases.
The what now?
The longitudinal datases.
Oh yeah, we all know what that is, don't we? So,
No, we don't.
I said that facetiously. I don't know what it is. But somebody's worked up about it. So, I don't know how long we got. I know we're running. I'll stay for 15, 20 minutes, however long y'all want to talk. But I really want to hear from you. So tell me, yes ma'am, my high school classmate.
And who first told you about Common Core?
Do I now?
Who first told you about Common Core?
Oh, I've heard about it for a long time, but you wore me out at the ball game.
And we both have sons that are older and some that are younger.
That's right.
Where are we on that? As far as with legislators knowing about it, being educated about it?
Well, I'm not sure the legislators are real educated about it.
That's, you know.
It is out there. It's been, they know it's coming, and that's about the extent of
Is it
it.
part of the next legislative session?
Will it be part of the, I don't know. I just talked to the chairman of the committee tonight. I was at a fundraiser. That's one reason I was a little bit late.
Because they're planning on changing right now they're writing the SAT,
Yeah.
ACT to have that incorporated into, which affects public, private, and homeschoolers. And that's kicking in next year. There's a small window to get some legislation to stop it or either stop the funding of it,
Okay.
which can be up for some public debate.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of states, you've already got about 20 some odd states that are already in that process. And if they can stop the funding of it, then that gives time that legislators, public, teachers, everybody else could become aware of this issue and how big this thing
Yeah.
really does. You talk about the data points of what we're seeing now with the phone systems and everything. That's hard. But just think about 400 data points that they're going to get from your kids and it's going to be your grandkids. And that has a much more information on it. And if they mess up, that's public record to the Department of Labor. We all made mistakes as we were young. But this is crucial, this data mining that they're going to be doing in these schools. And I'm talking about your grandkids. And with this opening up in the adult world of the spine, this is where we still have some states' rights here, and we need to jump on it before we don't have states' rights.
Okay.
And to me, that we can fight all these other big problems, but we need to stop. We need to stop this train a little bit, and we need to stop it. What's going under the door, and no one's paying attention to.
Okay.
So,
Good. Rita?
Let me ask, to the extent you can comment on this about the longitudinal data systems. Was the Senate Bill 2371 that established those in 2011, which was just months after Superintendent Burnham committed to Common Core? So, it's a logical next step. And that bill says, we're going to establish a system for the sharing of student information. It's going to be done through existing databases at Mississippi State University. I have to get the name of it. So, I was thinking, well, is Mississippi already using that database for educational information for analysis? And this is just a logical thing to do. I don't know the answer to that. The other thing is, the bill established a board of governance that's going to oversee, be responsible for getting it up and going, and then oversee the policies, particularly security and privacy. And I haven't done as much research time as I probably could have, but I never found who's the board of governance, who are they accountable to, how can we as citizens know that they're doing the appropriate job? Because the next year, Chris McDaniel introduced a bill in the Senate to give parents the opportunity to opt out of that if they didn't want to. And that bill died right away. So parents had no choice but to participate in it. And I was visiting with Tim Martin yesterday, and he was very, very helpful from the administrator's standpoint. We talked about this a little bit, and he said, I just know that the state legislature, the governor, all of our policymakers need a lot of information on education.
Tell everyone who Tim Martin
He's
is.
the assistant superintendent in Clinton, where I live. And he said, I know that we're uploading current information all the time because they want current and they want it right now. And that's certainly understandable. But he said, unfortunately, I can't tell you every data field that we're uploading. So I'm thinking, these technology people and all these entities that are participating in the LGS, are they the Board of Governance people?
I don't know.
That's what I'd like, that's what I'd like to know.
I pulled the bill, and I think I can go with that. So
Is it listed in the bill?
I believe so.
Well, they're representatives from these entities.
It's the people who give the information.
It's just title. It doesn't really say who the people
No,
are.
it doesn't.
It
It's
just tells who they are, like.
Mississippi Department of Education, State Board for Junior and Community Colleges, State Board of Trustees, Brian Shell, State Workforce Investment Board, Mississippi Development and Employment Security, and DHS.
So all those entities appoint somebody to the Board of Governance, and they're the ones that make the policy and make sure that privacy and security are taken care of. But now I'm wondering, okay, what other assurances do I have? I don't know who they are, I don't know what their policies are. How do we find this out? And can you find it out, or Mandy perhaps, and let us know?
Yeah,
Because
I
as
would
you
have to find it. I
understand,
don't know who they
nobody's
are.
trusting the government with our data anymore.
I don't know who
We need
the
to know
particular
their
people
names.
are.
That's what I would really like to know, because
If you recognize the names of people, they're in the pools of information from the agencies or the board. Sometimes state agencies are represented on boards, not a person. So maybe-
Well, they'll have a designee of some.
Right, who
They'll send
is
somebody.
representing that entity then? We need to know who those individuals are.
see, I'd like to
because
know
we need
what are the
accountability in
policies
this.
they established since they were brought into being in 2011.
Right, right.
And where can I read those policies? Those are the things I'd like to know.
Gotcha, I got you. We'll
Okay.
work on that. Yes, ma'am.
Speaker Gunn, in Madison County, they've already implemented this program in the elementary schools. It's voluntarily. And there was no public hearings. The parents have been left out of the loop on this. But it's a nationalization of our children's education. And I called the Board of Education, and I wanted to find out who actually serves on some of these committees that they speak about. And they told me I have to have a public records request to do that. But they would not disclose any of that information to me as a taxpayer.
Okay. Who'd you talk to?
What's that?
Who told you?
Dr. Patricia, can you help me? I can't remember her name.
Where did you call?
The
Madison
board.
County.
No,
No,
this
no, no,
was
no.
the State
Board of
Education.
Education.
The interim lady.
No, Lynn House is the interim superintendent, right?
Yeah.
Was it Matt,
She
Dr.
was right under the
Matt?
superintendent.
Okay, the one.
She was working under the
And
superintendent.
she wanted to know why I was calling, and I said, well, I'm interested because there's supposed to be a public hearing tomorrow, and I would like to find out more about who is actually on this board.
Okay.
And they said, well, you'll have to file a public records request. And I said, well, there's not a lot of time for me to do that before tomorrow's meeting.
Correct.
Is there anyone that can disclose that to me? Well, why do you want to call? Why are you calling me? And who are you with? And I said, I'm just a normal tax-paying mom, and they got really testy about my phone call.
Yeah.
And I was really nice.
When was this?
About 2 months ago.
Recently then?
2
March.
months ago.
There was a meeting we went to, Angela, remember, and they changed the whole agenda. They removed that whole subject.
About the history, US
Right,
history.
the US
They basically
history.
told us they were not gonna vote on it, and then
Right.
the second day they changed it, they did.
They did.
Yeah.
But whereas after we left,
That was
Laura,
the-
you were
that was the
there,
accountability.
Rita, you were there, we had a whole bunch of folks there, and they changed the whole agenda, and, Angela, you were there, who else was there? We had quite a few folks
Had a
there.
couple of DAR ladies.
That's right, DAR ladies.
They also told me that they put a public records, a notice out in the newspaper, and I know how to look those up, and there wasn't one. And so I called them back and I said, what newspaper is it? Because it's not showing up under the Mississippi Press Corps. And they said, well, I don't think it did go out. It never did go out.
Yes, sir.
Where are we with the implementation of Obamacare, the exchanges and such in Mississippi?
Well, it's just not happening
I went
right
to see my
now.
doctor yesterday, and you would not believe, this is hit the offices, all these forms that everybody has to fill out, and they have to, put into their computers, and the whole,
Yeah, we've all experienced
We've all done that.
it was pure.
So
There's nothing happening, to my knowledge, on that right now.
Doesn't something have to happen before the end of this year?
What, about?
2014 is when it's...
Well, there was concern that the dish payments would evaporate, but Obama pushed that off for another year, and that's kind of taking the heat off of everything. Everything's just kind of stagnant right now, it's just kind of sitting. But we have to have a Medicaid special session. Well, there's rumor we're gonna have a Medicaid special session. And there's no appetite to expand Medicaid. And I think we're pretty safe on that. Neither the governor nor the lieutenant governor nor I favor the expansion. Democrats are fighting hard to try to make that happen. And it's just nothing on the table that is a viable solution to any of that.
Do you think Medicaid will be expanded in the state at all?
Well, it's being expanded just by virtue of the number of people going on it. Under the current system, I think there's another 90,000 people that are just going on it already. Just under the current structure, there's 90,000 new people going on it already. So it's being expanded, but not under Obamacare. It's just being expanded because we get that many people applying for it. Moving on. Yes, sir.
Well, you may recognize.
I remember you, Don, sure.
HBO 2 HD.
There you go.
I was at the Republican fundraiser, and what I was disappointed in.
Which
and
one
I told
was that?
many of my patriots that we were not recognized.
Republican fund, what you talking about?
One at the Hilton Hotel on County Line, is a Republican fundraiser for the state Republican Party.
Oh, was I? Yeah, I was there.
You were there. I shook your hand. I'm the one with the
That's
cowboy
right.
hat.
I remember seeing you there. Sure did.
All right, I stick out like a sore thumb, but anyway, the gun laws, to me, are very important because without the Second Amendment, all the rest of them are null and void. This country, not particularly the state, has made a decision to go after us, not only information-wise, but go after our guns. I know state rights only go so far. I'm not one to advocate. I've marched up Pennsylvania Avenue twice. Marched up with the Tea Party in 09 and 2010. And I was there last September 17th on Constitution Day. This country, it means a lot to me, very much. I want to see my legislators, my Senate, my cohorts, I want to see some passion. I want to see some foot stomping. I want to see sweat coming off the brow. I want to see some passion in my state. Not only in my country, but I want to see it in my state. I'm tired of the games.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of game playing going on up there, and you know what I'm talking about, because all of us are very informed with our legislators.
Right.
They've come here and they've spoke. They've told us there's some things going on up there. We've had it. Politics is one thing. I understand politics to a certain degree. But what I do care about is about this country. When you were talking about bills going back and forth 30 and 40 times, when we used to vote in the classroom, it was like this.
Yeah.
It got done. We're tired of waiting 6 months, 8 months, a year. And I understand the frustration. I know Mark Baker personally. We used to stand on the corner when I was holding the flag, stand out there and joke about having a majority. Now that we have the majority, it seems like everything's at a snail's pace. And by the way, Mr. Kendall sends his regards.
Oh, good, thank you. I appreciate that very much, thank you. Dr. Hunt?
Thank you, Speaker Gunn. All of you know that we're in the middle of a great struggle on the national level concerning amnesty for an estimated 11 million and the legalization of another 22 million foreign nationals in the next 10 years. This legalization of 33 million people in the next decade equals 1/2 of the number of all immigrants to our land since the founding of Jamestown in 1607 to the present day. Regardless of the fate of this legislation, illegal immigration will continue and will be detrimental to Mississippi citizens. In Mississippi, it has been very disappointing to see no progress on the state level concerning immigration enforcement the past 2 years, with Republicans in control of most statewide offices, the governor's office, the Senate, and the House. According to a poll by the Southern Research Group in March of 2012, 83% of Mississippi Republicans want legislation to help control illegal immigration. Unless federal law specifically prohibits state immigration enforcement, will you please do your part by actively working to get legislation out of committee and to the House floor for a vote?
He did.
Well, yeah, we did.
He did his part, I have to say.
That was in 2012. In 2013, we didn't get a bill.
You're right. Well, you know, we've worked, fought, sweated. We exhibited a lot of that sweat and passion and anger last year. We spilt blood on the House floor, getting immigration bill passed, only to see it go to the Senate and never come out of committee. And I have continued to have conversations with that end of the building. I continue to try to work toward getting something out. Why can't we get something out? What's the problem? What are the concerns? And we just, you know, hadn't met with much, how should I say this, hadn't met with much receptivity, you know, for the
In
issue.
2012, we were this close to getting a good bill through the Senate also.
And we passed
Y'all passed the bill, and we praise you for that.
Thank you.
You know, we were this close to getting through the Senate, and right at the last moment, the Lieutenant Governor changed his mind, and did not bring it to the floor. We put a lot of pressure on him. I think we can put pressure on the Lieutenant Governor if we have a bill to come out of the House. Because we know that the bill doesn't come out of the Senate, but once one comes out of the House, then we have a chance. We don't have a chance unless we have something. We're supposed to be one of the most conservative states in the union. And, you know, I think in 2008, we passed a bill with the Democrats in control of the House. And, you know, we would like to see bills go through the House and at least have a chance. We don't have a chance right now.
Okay, thank you, Doc, I appreciate that. I saw another hand. Yes, sir.
American laws for American courts. Have you ever heard of that?
Maybe, but I can't explain it
It's
to
been
you.
passed in about 5 states. Basically, it's hidden away in another bill. I don't know. Laura has all this. Laura's our vegetable. She owns all the information in her head.
All right.
But
I was actually-
basically, all it says is that primarily it's a block against Sharia law, but it's labeled to be against all law, all foreign law to be used in American courts. And it's a stupid bill because we have Article 6 of the Constitution says the Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
Okay.
Shouldn't be necessary. However, we've had 53 cases in this country that have been determined by Sharia law. We cannot allow Sharia law in this country, but I can't do anything about the country. We can do something about this state. We have to have you getting things out of committee. That ALAC bill has died in committee the last 2 years.
Okay.
All right, it is in Scott DeLeo and Chuck Middleton, Delano and Chuck Middleton's committee. Judicial committee, I guess, Constitution committee. We need to make sure it gets out, gets to the floor, gets passed, and then I guess we have to find out who to talk to in the Senate. That should be a simple matter.
I'd have to go back and look at that. As you may know, not every bill up there is a majority vote. Our votes change based on the type of bill it is. General bills are a simple majority, which is 62 votes. But a revenue bill is a 3/5 vote, which is 74 votes. And a constitutional provision is a 2/3 vote, which is 81 votes. So I'd have to check that bill out and see if it's a 2/3 vote or it's a simple majority. It would be one of the two. But if it's a 2/3 vote, that's going to be 80, 81, 82 votes, which is...
I can't think of one person that shouldn't vote for it.
And you may be right. You may be right. But we'd have to count the votes and see how, what kind of success. Maybe, who knows? You'd have to follow and find out. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. We'll look at that.
And I would like to say one more comment about Don's comment on the guns. The UN just passed an arms treaty that if President Obama signs into law, Texas has already said they're going to stand up and fight it. Are we going to do the same?
Yeah, I mean, I don't... My last name is Gunn. I didn't think there was any question or doubt as to where I stood on guns and gun rights. You know, I sent a letter to 14 manufacturers in Mississippi. We welcome you. We want you. We want your business. We embrace your industry. You know, I'm a strong Second Amendment guy. My daddy was an outdoorsman. He and I hunted. I grew up hunting. I have a gun by my bed, and I got plenty of them in other places. And you know, I took a lot of heat recently when I sent those letters out, because a lot of the liberal media wanted to attack me for it and say, because they were taking advantage of these shootings which occur around the country, which are tragic and sad. You know, it was right after the Connecticut shooting, or one of them, and maybe the one in the movie theater in Colorado, I forget which, but you know, these are cowards that perpetrate these crimes, and they prey upon defenseless people. They're not attacking police stations. They're not going into police stations, you know. They're going into schools and theaters where people are defenseless, and they are cowards. And if they know people have guns, they don't attack those people. And that's why we fought very hard against the public records request. You know, in New York or Pennsylvania or somewhere, they had a public records request, and they published the names in the paper. I don't want them publishing their names in the paper. I don't want people knowing who doesn't have a gun. Because that's who they'll go target. And so we need to protect the rights of people to keep and bear arms. And I told one of the media guys, he said, you know, Obama or somebody, there was talk of a limitation on how many bullets you could have, you know, how many magazines could hold, whatever. And I told the media guy, I said, the government has no right to tell me how many guns or bullets I can have to defend me and my family. When it's 3 o'clock in the morning and somebody's coming through that door, I don't know how many of them there are, first of all. Could be 5 of them. I don't know how many bullets they got, what kind of guns they got. I need to have bigger guns and more bullets than they have. Because even if I call the police immediately, there's a lag time. 30 seconds, a minute, 3 minutes before they get there. And who knows what's going to happen in that short span of time. And I don't think the government has any right to tell me how many bullets I can have or how big a gun I can have to defend me and my
They're just
family.
buying all the bullets.
That's
They're buying up all the bullets.
I'm sorry, Janice.
Mr. Gunn, I'd like to ask you really kind of an in-depth question.
I don't do well on those.
I believe I can speak for everyone in this room. We want to support you
Thank you.
in your position. And in so doing, we want to know what your agenda is to make sure that where you're marching, plugs in with where we're marching. And if it doesn't,
Okay.
we want to step in and say, Speaker Gunn, this is where we think we need to be marching. We want to partner with you. I think we partnered very well with our governor. You always had an open door. You were very kind to Laura and me the very first time when you were first elected. You allowed us to come in right away and sit down with you, and I appreciate that immensely. We haven't had that same warm, fuzzy feeling at the other end of the hallway, but we're working on